at this time. Here we sit together, one and all in agreement, in a new agreement. The being that you are, the being that you are is about to transform, to integrate itself, in a higher plane, We will say this again. The being that you are, is about to integrate, into the manifest self, into the manifest self, beyond what you've known, or how you thought yourselves to be, or how you've thought yourselves to be. Paul interrupts the teaching already. What are you talking about? Is this a guarantee? Is this a promise? Is this a guarantee? Is this a promise? In fact, what this is simply the state of being, that you are all now aligning to, and will seek to integrate, through the manifest world, the truth of what you are. The truth of who and what you are that is always expressed as the true self, monad if you wish, the light within you. The light within you is already present and operable. The manifestation of it as the who and the what, the emphasis at this time being who and what has come to be sung through the collective. Understand this, friends. Through the collective means humanity itself. Humanity itself is in this place of integration, seeking to assume itself in higher accord, at the cost of what once was. Now the transition you are undertaking, as we said in prior classes, is not for the faint of heart, and we say this with love, the integration of the new, which means the manifestation of it, as form, must be understood as cataclysmic to aspects of self and form, that have been decreed in fear, and seek to retain authority, when the divine is present, when all things are indeed made new, what was held in shadow, is quickly revealed, The first thing it will seek to do is to deny the light that is to deny the light that is. If the light is refuted, the darkness may hold its stead, But in fact, what happens is the illumination in the face of shadow. Transforms what has been held, The genesis of the shadow itself is reknown, and then all artifice, or all structure, that was built upon that seed, will be eradicated, or indeed transformed, A prison may become something other. It need not be the structure before. It need not be the structure it was built through, and even the idea of governance, or rule may sustain itself, and if in fact it is catalyzed beyond the shadow or fear, that has claimed it's outpicturing, as you all have seen it, Now, when structures fail, be them civilizations, be them structures of economic rule, what comes in its stead? May choose itself in its expression, We say this intentionally for you to understand, and we say this intentionally for you to understand. You want to place the one thing, you want to replace, the one thing with something you deem better, but you're still operating off the old rubric, the old template, of potentials We will replace a president with a king. We will replace a king with a committee. We will replace a king with a committee, and you design a life, through these structures, through these structures in the hope that what you choose next, that what you choose next may be a bit better, but if the seed of the old is still present, what you claim is still present in what you claim, you will find it riddled. You will find it riddled soon enough with the darkness that was first present, with the darkness that was first present. So what happens in its place? Through the integration we're taking up tonight, through the integration we are speaking of tonight, is that the manifest divine must know itself in the face of what was, without the small self's assistance, to improve it. The challenge here you see is you'll always do your best with what you have, is that you will always do your best with what you have. If your intention is high, indeed you may improve something. But if the wood you structure a house with, is riddled with termites, the new house will fall just as the old did. The new house will fall just as the old did. Now the changes you're about to undergo operate in several different ways. The true self that you are, that we've been teaching you about, and supporting you in an integration with, seeks its paramount expression, which simply means it seeks to override the small self's ideologies, which operate in fear and limitation. As each individual meets this act of renewal, it feels as if who you have been, what you have known, what you've been indoctrinated with and to, what you have been indoctrinated with and to is falling away because you don't see the new, but because you do not see the new, because the new is not yet born, because the new is not yet born. The manifest divine, which seeks to encroach upon all, reveal all things as they have been seen, must complete itself, regardless of what you wish, He interrupts this teaching, but don't we have free will? There is a moment in any system. There is a moment in any system where the effect of the new upon the old, cannot be retrieved. In other words, there is a moment in a process, where the disassembling of the old, will complete itself, because it has been begun, and it's reached a level of intonation, where the only opportunity is to complete, as this happens for an individual. It may feel as if what you know is taken from you, what you have known is taken from you, but that is not what's actually occurring. What is actually occurring through your being is that the truth of your being is being revealed. What you truly are, have always been, can truly only be, is being witnessed in expression. Again, the claim we know how you serve. Again, the claim we know how you serve is as this expression. As this expression, come as each of you. Many of you desire a spirituality that allows you to hate your neighbor, when it's convenient to you, If you wish that, it's not spirituality. If you wish that, it is not spirituality. It's what you're choosing. It is what you are choosing. You want spirituality. You want spirituality to be convenient to your politics, or to your personal needs. But in fact, the The truth of all things must now be comprehended, must now be comprehended as coming at the cost of fear, as coming at the cost of fear, and fear will make it last grasp, and fear will make its last grasp to control, because that is what it seeks to do, because that is what it seeks to do. All fear is denial of one, is the denial of the divine, nothing more, nothing more. You make it more, but as you have become this light, but as you have become this light that shines upon all things, your comprehension of the darkness, your comprehension of the darkness is transformed. You see the light itself, shines upon the darkness, shines upon the darkness. The darkness does not express. The darkness does not express where the light shines. Where the light shines, you are not chasing the light's canoe. You are not chasing as the light, as if to run down a bug, You are being the light. You are being the light, and what was held in shadow is released, and what was held in shadow is released by your presence. The old seeks to be reseen. The old seeks to be reseen. The genesis of all things you see. The genesis of all things you see is indeed one tone, As this one tone is sung in this plane, and as this one tone is sung in this plane, all that is encountered by it, is reclaimed by it, and the lifting you experience, will leave some things be, some things will not be lifted, some things will not be lifted, but other things may be seen as they truly are, Again, he interrupts, what will not be lifted, what will not be lifted. We have said this many times. But what you damn damns you back. But what you damn damns you back. And something that is held at that level, and something that is held at that level, which has coalesced, a level of vibration in fear. A level of vibration in fear will only be lifted when it is reseen fully. To re-see something fully. To re-see something fully is to know the presence of the divine, is to know the presence of the divine, where it has been most denied, There are relics of history. That have been held in darkness, for a millennium, because they would not be lifted, This is new, he says. What are you teaching us? You have understandings. Of prior acts of violence, that have occurred upon this plane, Every act leaves a thumbprint. In the energetic structure. When an act of violence, or painful act, that was done in mercenary ways, has been elongated over time. It holds more than a thumbprint. It is amplified and present. To release these aspects, that have been known on this plane, require renewal of the template itself. This is the process that's been begun. This is the process that has been begun, and we suggest will continue, But when such things are seen, these things have been held in shadow. These things that have been held in shadow, accrued evidence to their power. They are witnessed in a different way. Than you may be used to. What are you speaking of tonight? He asks. What are you speaking of tonight? He asks. I don't understand this teaching. I don't understand this teaching. Humanity is about to realize itself. Humanity is about to realize itself at the cost of the old, What has been held in shadow, what has been most damned, must be revealed, to be restored, What cannot be lifted by one, can indeed be lifted by all, indeed be lifted by all in the belief in separation. And the belief in separation, that you are not worthy of divine, that you are not worthy of the divine, is what is being attested to in this teaching, is what is being attested to in this teaching, which simply means the basis of the denial of God, the basis of the denial of God, which is separation, will have to be contended with, Finally, we say, in order for humanity to be released, in order for humanity to be released from fear itself, Well, how is this done, he asks. Well, how is this done? He asked. This seems impossible and false. This seems impossible and false to me, and false to me. Well, the evidence is all about you, Paul. Well, the evidence is all about you, Paul. We have said so many times that from the upper room, or from the higher vantage point, anything may be lifted. Anything may be lifted. We are speaking of something now. That is the genesis of fear. Which is again the belief in separation, which is again the belief in separation, or the denial of the divine, or the denial of the divine. We have taught you the claim. That can lift these things. It's the most simple claim there can be, and it's the most simple claim there can be, and that is the claim God is, and that is the claim God is. God is in the face of shadow. God is in the face of shadow. God is in the lifting. God is in the lifting of the shadow itself, to reveal its innate truth, Now, the divine must be present in all things. Or it can be nowhere at all. So we are not suggesting separation. As a fact. We are speaking of the belief in separation. We are speaking of the belief in separation, and what it has accrued, that holds this level of density, When this level of density is encountered by the light, as if you awaken a sleeping dragon. You would have preferred it to be asleep because it appeared dormant, but the energetic structure of the dragon was still operable, and until the dragon is awakened, it will not be seen as a creation, it will not be restored, and it will not be restored to the light that must in fact be the source of all things, when the sleeping dragon awakens. When the sleeping dragon awakens, you wish to run. It seems like fear, but anything that can be seen fearfully, can be seen anew from the upper room, To lift to the upper room in the face of fear. Is to know the self as worthy of it, and to claim the present one, and to claim the presence of the divine that is more powerful than any denial can ever be, than any denial of it can ever be. Do you hear this, friends? Do you hear this, friends? The light is far more powerful. The light is far more powerful than the shadow. The shadow is released by the light. The shadow is released by the light. The light pierces the darkness. The light pierces the darkness, and fear itself, a great illusion. A great illusion can itself be renown. Now, some of you are saying to us, well, what about us? I just wanted to hear about being a better person. I just wanted to hear about being a better person, the improved version of me, Here is the truth, friends. There is no improved version of you. There's your idea of yourself. There is your idea of yourself and how you project that, into this idea of reality, how you project this into this idea of reality becomes your lived experience in a life, life through the mask of the small self, through the mask of the small self or personality you've accrued, or personality you've accrued and chosen to learn through, and chosen to learn through the improved idea of self. The improved idea of self would only be in a beneficial fact, would be a more beneficial mask, but the teaching here. But the teaching here, the far greater teaching, the resurrected self, the resurrected self of God, of source, of God, of source, no longer in engagement, no longer in engagement with the dance with fear, with the dance with fear must be seen as the gift you receive, because she lifts the world, because it is she that lifts the world, as he lifts light. It is he that illumines what has been withheld, what has been withheld from the light, and that is each of you, and that is each of you, all humanity as it aligns to the process that is now present on this plane, that is now present on this plane. What does that mean? He asks. What does that mean? He asks. Something very specific. The rule by fear will be ended. The rule by fear will be ended, but it is not ended. But it is not ended until it is faced, and this must include your own self-deceptions, and this must include your own self-deceptions, literally at a level of individuality and of collective agreement This process has been begun. This process has been begun, and the confusion you all find yourselves in. And the confusion you all find yourselves in as you're seeking to comprehend a whole picture is seeking to comprehend a whole picture in a splinter of glass, a small piece of mirror, when the vastness of the change that is actually occurring cannot be comprehended. You look at a system failing, and you think that is the issue, and you think that is the issue. What is actually happening? What is actually happening is that the relationship that you have all known, with your idea of reality, is being transitioned. Imagine a ship that has capsized, that is now being righted, You've been upside down so long. That you assume down is up, When the ship is righted, you will be in the light. Not submerged beneath the old, in the murky water, if you wish. But when you are restored, everything that was upside down moves away, and the tumult begins. Once you are right up again. You understand yourselves. You have been seen. For who and what you truly are. And you're able to negotiate. Reality itself in a highly different way. Than you have known thus far. What does that mean? He asks. What does that mean? He asks. Well, your negotiation with reality. Your negotiation with reality is all based in ideas. That you were born with. Or into. I come into a kingdom. Where lies are present. I know a world in shadow. I adopt to the shadow world. I adapt to the shadow world. I learn to live with the lies. I learn to live with the lies because there is nothing to question them, when you are lifted to the new plateau. Again, the kingdom, known through the upper room, what you have released. What you have released is the requirement of the old, to tell you what is truth, tell you what is what, and you begin to see with a new vision, with a new vision, a new idea that the divine is all, that the divine as all must indeed be so, because everything else cannot be so, unless the basis of truth, the basis of all things, which you may call God if you wish, is not present as it, the claim we teach you tonight. The claim we teach you tonight, God is, God is, God is, God is, God is, God is, not only refutes the darkness, but claims the darkness and light, but claims the darkness and light. You are not fighting darkness. You are not fighting darkness. You do not do battle here. You do not do battle here. That is a misconception. That is a misconception. It aligns you to the idea of battle. It aligns you to the idea of battle, which is born in separation, Instead, what it does is claim you in union, and the union you hold, and the union you hold, and the knowing of who you are, and the knowing of who you are is what dispels the darkness, because it cannot be met, and maintain itself, in the face when you are, in the face of the light that you are. Again, there is one tone sung. Again, there is one tone sung, as all reality, this one tone, the divine of all, the divine as all must be comprehended, is operating in scale, low to high, the relationship to the old, is being wrought new, claimed new through your agreement, to be the manifest self, who has come, who makes all things new, and who reclaims the kingdom, again, the awareness of all things, again, the awareness of the divine as all things, in the face of all, and what, in the face of all, and what would seek to deny it, be prepared for the times ahead, not in fear, but in witness of God, as you can hold this witness, in spite of any contrary, in spite of any evidence to the contrary, as you can see the divine, because you know yourself as of it, you not only dispel the darkness, but you reclaim what has been held in shadow, in its own divine nature, You may say these words with us if you wish. You may say these words with us if you wish. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free, I am free, I am free. Now, if you wish. And now, if you wish, I'm in the upper room. I am 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 in the upper room. And from this place of expression, you may say these words. So, behold, I make all things new. And now these words, if you wish. And now these words, if you wish. God is. God is. God is. We ask you now to move in agreement. We ask you now to move into agreement with your true nature, the true self as who and what, the true self as who and what. You do not respond. You do this not by effort, but by agreement. I am free to do this. I am free to do this. I am in alignment to this. I am in alignment to this. It will be so. It will be so. As you say these words, and as you say these words, it will be so. It will be so. You support the self. You support the self in this agreement to be. In this agreement to be. We say this for each of you now. We say this for each of you now. We see you in your beauty. We see your right to be. We see you in your right to be. In all you have known and may know, and as we speak these words to each, and as we speak these words to you each, we remember you, we remember you, we see you, we re-see you, and we reclaim you, and we reclaim you as the divine self, that you can only be truth, that you can only be in truth. We see you in liberty. We see you in your beauty. Indeed, you have come. Indeed, you have come. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your presence. We will turn for most questions. We'll return in a few moments with your questions. Stop now, please. Stop now, please.